Hey everyone, welcome back to part 4 of my real-time AWS question and answer series. In this series, I cover real AWS exam styles question that you might face in certification test or real-world projects. So let's jump right into today's question and see if you can guess the answer before I reveal it. So let's get started. An e-commerce company has been monitoring uses of its online store that is hosted on a fleet of Amazon EC2 instances. Search engine traffic occur every weekend day at the same time and last for approximately 4 hours. Which AWS service should the company use to ensure that there are enough instances to meet the surge in demand? And the options are AWS Lambda, Amazon Event Bridge, Elastic Load Balancing, Amazon EC2 Autoscaling. And the answer is Amazon EC2 Autoscaling automatically adds or removes EC2 instances to handle traffic surge and can be scheduled for predictable weekend spike. Let's move to the next question. A company needs an AWS object storage solution for photo and videos. Which AWS service will meet this requirement? And the options are AWS Backup, AWS Batch, Amazon EC2, Amazon S3. And the answer is Amazon S3. Amazon S3 is AWS object storage service designed to store and retrieve photos, videos, and other files securely and at scale. Let's move to the next question. Which AWS service or feature identifies whether an AWS S3 bucket or an IAM role has been shared with an external entity? And the options are AWS Service Catalog, AWS System Manager, AWS IAM Access Analyzer, AWS Organization Access. And the answer is AWM IAM Access Analyzer. IAM Access Analyzer detects whether S3 bucket or IAM roles are shared with external accounts or the public. Let's move to the next question. A company wants to use a template to reliably provision, manage, and update its infrastructure in the AWS cloud. Which AWS service will meet these requirements? And the options are AWS Lambda, AWS Cloud Formation, AWS Fargate, AWS Code Deploy. And the answer is AWS Cloud Formation. AWS Cloud Formation uses templates to provision, manage, and update infrastructure in a reliable and repeatable way. Let's move to the next question. A company is using Amazon RDS. Which task is the company's responsibility according to the AWS shared responsibility model? And the options are apply inscription option for the database, manage the underlying service hardware on which Amazon RDS runs, apply patches to the underlying operating system, apply minor patches to the database. And the answer is apply minor patches to the database. In the AWS shared responsibility model for RDS, AWS manage the underlying hardware and OS while the customer is responsible for database level tasks like minor patching and configuration. Let's move to the next question. Which task is the shared responsibility of the customer and AWS under the AWS shared responsibility model? And the options are installing hardware infrastructure, managing security, managing guest operating system, operating the physical infrastructure that runs all services. And the answer is managing security. Security is the AWS shared responsibility model. Is shared AWS secure the cloud infrastructure while customers secure data, account, and assets within their environment. Let's move to the next question. A company runs Amazon EC2 instances in a research lab. The instances runs for 3 hours each week and cannot be interrupted. What is the most cost-effective instance purchasing option to meet these requirements? And the options are compute savings plan, on-demand instances, convertible reserved instances, spot instances, and the answer is on demand instances. For short term unpredictable workloads, on demand instances are the most cost effective because you pay only for the hours used without long term commitment. Let's move to the next question. A company that uses AWS needs to transfer 2 TB of data. Which type of transfer of that data would result in no cost for the company? And the options are inbound data transfer from the internet, outbound data transfer to the internet, data transfer between AWS regions, data transfer between availability zones. And the answer is inbound data transfer from the internet. AWS does not charge for data coming into AWS from the internet, only for outbound or cross region transfers. Let's move to the next question. A large company wants to track the combined AWS users cost of all its link account. How can this be accomplished? And the options are use AWS Trusted Advisor to generate customized summary reports, use AWS Organization to generate consolidated billing reports, use AWS Budget to set utilization target and receive summary reports, use the AWS Control Tower dashboard to get summary reports of all link account cost. And the answer is use AWS Organization to generate consolidated billing reports. AWS organizations allow a company to combine billing across all link accounts and track total AWS users cost in a single report. Let's move to the next question. Which Amazon S3 storage class is most cost effective for unknown access patterns? And the options are S3 standard, S3 standard infrequent access, S3 one zone infrequent access, S3 intelligent tiering. And the answer is S3 intelligent tiering. S3 intelligent tiering automatically moves object between frequent and infrequent access tiers based on the user's patterns, making it the most cost effective for data with unknown or unpredictable access. Let's move to the next question. Which characteristic of the AWS cloud helps user eliminate underutilized CPU capacity? And the options are agility, elasticity, reliability, durability. And the answer is elasticity. Elasticity allows AWS resources to scale up or down automatically based on the demand, helping users avoid underutilized compute capacity. Let's move to the next question. The company does not want to rely on elaborated forecasting or determine its uses of compute resources. Instead, the company wants to pay only for the resources that it uses. The company also needs the ability to increase or decrease its resources uses to meet business requirements. Which pillar of the AWS will architect framework aligns with the requirements? And the options are operational excellence, security, reliability, cost optimization. And the answer is cost optimization. The cost optimization pillar focuses on using resources efficiently, avoiding over provisioning, and scaling compute capacity up or down to meet business needs. Let's move to the next question. A company is using AWS identity and access management. Who can manage the access key of the AWS account root user? And the options are IAM users in the same account that have been granted permission. IAM roles in any account that have been granted permission. IAM users and roles that have been granted permission. The AWS account owner. And the answer is the AWS account owner. Only the root user of an AWS account can manage its access key. IAM users or roles cannot do this for the root account. Let's move to the next question. A company wants to use a database service to store and analyze trillions of events each day. Which AWS service will meet these requirements? And the options are Amazon Document DB, Amazon Database Migration Service, Amazon Neptune, Amazon TimeStream for live analytics. And the answer is Amazon TimeStream for live analytics. Amazon TimeStream is a time series database optimized for storing and analyzing massive volume of event generated continuously, making it suitable for trillions of daily events. Let's move to the next question. A company wants to use shell script to create and manage AWS resources. Which AWS service or tool will meet these requirements? AWS CLI, AWS Config, Amazon Inspector, AWS X-Ray. And the answer is AWS CLI. The AWS command line interface allows user to create and manage AWS resources using shell script. Let's move to the next question. A company has an environment that includes Amazon EC2 instances, Amazon Lightshell, and on-premises servers. The company wants to automate the security updates for its operating system and applications. Which solution will meet this requirement with the least operational effort? And the options are use AWS Shield to identify and manage security events, connect to each server by using a remote desktop connection, run an update script, use the AWS System Manager Patch Manager capacity, schedule Amazon Guard duty to run on a nightly basis. And the answer is use the AWS System Manager Patch Manager capability. Patch Manager automates patching of EC2 instance and on-premise services, minimizing manual effort and operational overhead. Let's move to the next question. Which AWS Cloud Adoption Framework perfectly focuses on organizing an inventory of IDEA products in a data catalog? And the options are operations, governance, business, platform. And the answer is platform. The platform perspective of the AWS CAF focuses on inventorying and managing technology resources, including data, application, and infrastructure. Let's move to the next question. Which AWS service can automatically provision and manage AWS EC2 instances for an application? And the options are AWS Code Pipeline, AWS Compute Optimizer, AWS Elastic Beanstalk, AWS Lambda. And the answer is AWS Elastic Beanstalk. Elastic Beanstalk automatically provision, manage, and scale EC2 instances for web application with minimal operational effort. Let's move to the next question. Which AWS service or tool can be used to capture information about inbound and outbound traffic in an Amazon VPC? And options are VPC Flow Logs, Amazon Inspector, VPC Endpoint Services, NAT Gateway. And the answer is VPC Flow Logs. VPC Flow Logs capture details about inbound and outbound traffic to and from network interfaces in your VPC. Let's move to the next question. A company wants to run its applications code without having to provision and manage servers. Which AWS service will meet this requirement? And the options are AWS Glue, AWS Lambda, AWS Code Deploy, AWS Code Guru. And the answer is AWS Lambda. AWS Lambda lets you run code without provisioning or managing servers, automatically scaling based on demand. And that's it for today's question. If you found this helpful, do not forget to like, share, and subscribe for more real-time AWS question and answer videos. Drop your answers or thoughts in the comment. Thanks for watching.